I was diagnosed with a very rare neurological condition. Everyone around me told me it was just anxiety. I was diagnosed with Slippers syndrome condition, and this is what Slippers stands for. It's a very complex name. When I was first diagnosed with it, I was not able to find any information on the internet about it because it's so rare, and it really bummed me out. I didn't want a ChatGPT breakdown, and I'm not educated enough to understand all these, doctor research articles. All I wanted was a video on TikTok with someone who had Slippers to explain what Slippers is. So this is why I'm making this video. I'm gonna try my best to make it educational only. So I won't make this a personal story time, but I will mention my very first Slippers episode, which led me here. Sometime in March, I was at a concert. I came home, was getting ready for bed. Once I was in a relaxed state of mind, the right side of my body went completely numb, and I lost my speech, which then followed up with a really intense headache. The episode lasted about 10 minutes, and I went to the hospital immediately because I thought I was roofied at the concert. When I went to the hospital, the doctors were telling me that it was just anxiety and a lack of sleep, a lack of this, a lack of that. Anxiety causes body tingling and, slurred speech, X, Y, and Z. But I knew that was not the case because I know myself and I am not an anxious person. I'm just not. I wake up every day and I know what it is. So I left the hospital, and I really fought for a second opinion, and I got down and dirty, found some of the best neurologists in my area that could try to take on my case. And once I did, they knew right away this was not anxiety and something was wrong. Once I found a neurologist, she did an MRI and a CAT scan on my brain, and she found out that I had a lesion in my brain, and my brain was heavily inflamed. So clearly it was not anxiety. I spent March and April in and out of doctors' offices, getting tested for this, getting tested for that. But what was confusing was that all of my tests were coming back clean, and nothing was popping up. By month 2, we did a follow-up MRI to see where the lesion currently was standing, and it turned out that it had spread. So my neurologist mentioned that her and her team were starting to believe that this was a case of Slippers, and that these episodes of numbness and tingliness and loss of speech were focal seizures, and that I needed to admit myself into the hospital ASAP under her care, which is exactly what I did. Now, what is Slippers? So essentially, and I'm gonna break this down in the simplest of simplest terms, I am not a doctor. Don't come for me if I say something wrong. But basically, Slippers is a condition where the brain gets a little confused and it starts to attack itself, thinking that there's something that needs to be attacked. Go figure. So my brain was attacking itself. And it attacked itself so intensely that it caused inflammation. And my brain got so inflamed that it started causing cognitive issues. And my cognitive issue was that I was losing speech and I was getting focal seizures. What is a focal seizure? A focal seizure is where your body or a part of your body goes tingly and numb for a period of time. Do want to note that Slippers is not a seizure disorder. The focal seizures were just a consequence of how inflamed my brain was because of how much my brain was attacking itself, if that makes sense. Slippers is very, very hard to diagnose. It's not like a willy-dilly, you have Slippers. No, it is it is a process. I just want to say that. It's not like where you go into a doctor's office and they pull your blood and they say, yeah, you have slippers. No. In order to get to a slippers diagnosis, you have to get tested for absolutely everything. You have to rule out a whole bunch of other things. You know, they were testing for MS, lupus, cancer, tumors, infections, STDs. They were testing everything. They also test your entire body. They are looking, you know, at your stomach, at your spine, at your, obviously your brain. They checked my breasts. They went head to toe. It's not just neurologists that are on this case trying to figure out what your diagnosis is. They have to bring in a whole bunch of other specialists. I had, you know, lymph node specialists. I had people who specialize in the abdomen. I had people that specialized in the blood vessels, infectious disease doctor. Like, everyone had to have a say in this. And I had to get tested for multiple things because, again, everything has to get ruled out first. If you are getting tested for slippers, it is a process. I obviously went both routes. I was doing outpatient routes where I was going into doctor's offices here and there for a month or so. But then there was also a period where once I was admitted into the hospital, I was in the hospital for weeks getting tested every single day. If you are someone that is going, you know, through this, one thing that I do just want to say, because I wish I was more mentally prepared, is be prepared for a lot of testing. Your body's gonna go through a lot. You know, be prepared to do a sleep study, be prepared to do multiple MRIs, CAT scans, be prepared to do multiple spinal taps. That was the worst one for me. And be prepared to do them back to back. My advice is, please don't give the doctors a hard time. Just let them do what they need to do in order to get to your diagnosis, whatever. Good news about slippers is that it is treatment responsive. It's never easy to deal with a health condition. It's very damaging to the mind, body, and soul. But the silver lining with slippers is that it's treatment responsive. Slippers is episodic, yes. Studies have shown that 50 to 60% of people relapse. However, it's treatment responsive. Majority of slippers patients do hit full remission, which is good. So there's hope there. If you are a woman, it was brought to my attention that women who have slippers are still able to continue on with their lives with little to no restrictions, and they were still able to have healthy pregnancies, healthy babies, and slippers is not proven to be hereditary or something that you could pass down to your kids, which is good. I also want to point out that there is nothing you could do to stop slippers, and there's nothing that you could have done to trigger slippers. Sometimes we just have antibodies that have not been discovered yet, and really it's just a fluke. It's just the way the chemistry is in our body. So please don't be hard on yourself if you have been diagnosed with slippers. This is not medical advice, but while I was dealing with these episodes without a diagnosis, here is what I was doing to really limit the amount of slippers episodes that I was having. One, I was not laying down flat because I knew my head was inflamed. I was not laying down flat, and I was not laying down where my lesion was. And you know where your lesion is because you feel it. It's very, very painful. It is not a Tylenol, Advil type of headache, right? You really feel it. So I was sleeping elevated. No, it is not comfortable, but again, everything is temporary. I was avoiding humidity, and I was avoiding direct sunlight. I was avoiding hot showers. I was only taking cold showers. This is before I knew that I was even having seizures. I just picked up on what was triggering these episodes. I was relying heavily on Tylenol, Excedrin, ibuprofen, etc. If nothing was working, which it honestly wasn't, I just went the old school route, and I was doing a lot of ice packs around my neck and I was putting it where the inflammation was, and I was relying heavily on caffeine, coffee. That's just what worked for me. Again, this is only until I was able to see a professional and they were able to, give me treatment. Speaking of treatment, treatment is different for everybody. Everybody's body is different. Some people need 5 days of treatment and then can move on to oral. Some people need 10 days of treatment and then can move on to oral. Treatment does last for a couple months. It's not like it's a week of antibiotics and boom, you're back to normal. No, the treatment is a little intense. And that's because your brain has gone through a lot. Some people just need a round of treatment and then they hit full remission. Some people will need to be on immunotherapy to make sure that it doesn't come back. Everyone's body and everyone's case is different. Just listen to your neurologist. On a bit of a personal note, treatment is very intense on the mind, the body, the soul, everything. You will definitely feel out of whack for quite some time. Side effects are crazy, but don't let the medical anxiety get to you. Just know it's all temporary and you will bounce back. Yeah, that's really all I have for now. Maybe I'll make an updated video post-treatment. I'm still on treatment for a couple more months. But I just wanted to make this video because when I was first presented with the term slippers, all I wanted was to hear a personal story out of someone's mouth. And all I wanted to know was what to expect, and I couldn't find it. So I'm gonna keep this video up, and I'm gonna try to upload it to a whole bunch of different platforms, and I hope no one gets slippers. The best thing you could do for yourself is be in touch with your body. Eat healthy, work out, exercise, just really know your body. I really truly believe that is what helped me advocate for myself. I knew my body. I knew my mental state of mind. I knew something was not right. So I am sending everyone health, and yes, bye.